All right, Rockfin, waiting on you. Okay, let's go.
I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati.
Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Sabby Sabs podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you are new, I want to let you know that Sabby Sabs podcast is a part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. And you can catch me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Rockfin, and Twitter. And I want to give shout outs really quick to people in the chat. Happy Friday, guys. Woohoo. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. All right. Shout out to CBC Voters says peace. Peace to you too as well. Always great to see you, Lawrence Johnson, who's a Sabby member, says doobie doo. We're taking our GD country back. Shout out to Hannah G says Friday with Sabby. Greetings, Miguel says TGIF. What's going on? Angela says, hello, Sabby and chat. Hope everyone is well tonight. Greetings, Kenchi. Hey, Sabby Boo. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. Shout out to Patty R says, applause, love, peace, and solidarity. Shout out to Gamer and Ganja for Life says, hello. Greetings, Eric Gray. Friday is the most interesting work day of the week. I agree. Friday is always the busiest day for some reason. Shout out to Sweary Fairy says, sing it, Sabby. Doobie doo. Progressive. Roger Meadows has been picking on me about that, so I had to throw that in there. What's going on? Mia says, are they bribing Zelensky to dance? I don't know. What's going on? Yipper99 says, howdy. Greetings, Eric T. Red, who's a Sabby member, says, hey, happy Friday, friends. What's going on? Henry says, hello, comrades. Greetings, Joe. Who is your favorite Pokemon? Oh. You're going to laugh at me for this one. I actually didn't really watch Pokemon. My sister was really into it. There was that Pokemon like Go game that came out that we were playing on our phones for a little bit a couple of years ago. But other than that, I really didn't watch it like that. Shout out to Andrew. Thanks for the super chat. There's a union that just stopped all New Jersey Transit evening trains. Wow. Thank you for telling me about that, Andrew. I didn't know. That is interesting. See what you can do with the power of the people? What's going on? Give them the boot. Says, hey, all. I like that name. Greetings, Rodrigo says, a Sabby Sabs episode with Ralph Nader would be legendary. I know. I can't. I need to find. The only contact information I could find for him was his radio show, and it's a form that you have to fill out, and I don't do well with forms. I just don't have the best luck when I fill out these forms. I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to someone and ask me another way best to get in contact with him, because I think he might be in New England in my area. Shout out to Nicholas says, doobie doo indeed. All right. What's going on? Janice says, hey, everyone. Shout out, pitchforks are coming. Hiya. Zach. Hi, Sabby. I want to participate in a call-in stream. Is it true you can do it on PC? I don't want the app. Peace. Yes. You can actually go to call in on PC now. Actually, Eric, can you put the call-in link in the chat? I'll pin it later, you guys, as we get further into the night. But yes, you can do that on PC now, because I know some of you told me that, like, you didn't want to download the app. So I'm glad they made that adjustment. Shout out to Bitter Almonds, doobie doobie doo. The Traveler says, happy Friday. Greetings, Larry says, hi, Sab. Ashura says, hey, Sabby, you Candace fake leftist. Oh man, it's been going around the past couple days. Greetings, George says, Dore is live right now. I am watching and just got a notification for this show about Jimmy Dore. I know. A lot of times we're live at the same time. Speaking of which, I do want to get your input about this. Feel free to put it in the chat. Eric and I have been talking. Eric's my producer. He's in the background. We were wondering if it's better for me to exchange Wednesday night for Thursday night, because there's not much streaming going on Thursday night, and that would give me all of Wednesday off because I wouldn't be on RBN or my show. And so I want to get your opinion about that. Some of you were here Thursday night. I went live at 8 o'clock. Let me know if you like that best, because I know sometimes you guys are watching me and Jimmy at the same time. By the way, I don't know how you do that, but yeah, let me know. Notori says, Sabby, I fucking love you. Oh, I love you too, Notori. Notorious. Okay, I see some of the comments in the chat. Miguel says, yes, I like that idea, Sabby. Okay. Leroy, get your rest the best way possible, self-care. Thank you, Leroy. And Leroy's also a Sabby member. Okay. Yeah, we did. Last night we had like 500 plus live viewers watching. It was crazy. Crazy times. Shout out to you, Andrew. Thanks for the super chat. Can I send you the link to the story? This is big. Yes. Email it to me. It won't let you put a link in the chat, but you can email me. My email address is in the description portion of all my videos. So if you just hit that drop down, you'll see my email address. So yeah, just email it to me. Angela said Thursday would be good, and you absolutely should have a day off. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to do that then, guys. I'll send out a newsletter to everyone and let them know, hey, Sabby's going to be switching to Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. So I'll do this show right after the Sabby and JB show on RBN. Okay. Quick shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. It really does go a long way. For those of you who are interested in being a Sabby patron, I have 5 categories: members, Sabbies, Sabsters, Sabinators, and Ultimate. All of their names are listed here, and they're also scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and I just remembered there's someone I need to add. Give me just a second. Eric, because they reached out to me. I think their name accidentally dropped off. I think that was probably my bad. This is why I don't try to edit things on my own. Elizabeth Obert. Let me put this in the private chat. She's a Sabby. Can you add her? Can you remove the banner at the bottom and add her to Sabby's? Because her name hasn't been up there. And she, she wants to see her name. So I just put it in the private chat. Okay, sorry, a little bit of housekeeping there. What are we talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go ahead and get into that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to show you the thumbnail. Okay, tonight we're discussing Jimmy Dore on Tucker Carlson. So I have a clip from that I want to show you guys, and I also have some receipts I want to show you about some of the people that he mentioned in that clip, which I think would be interesting for you to see. Also, we're going to discuss Zelensky gets more aid. Yes, they're just giving him money, giving him money. And last but not least, Mayra Flores warning. What is that about? And should Democrats be concerned? I think they should be. So let's go ahead and get started with the first story. I'm going to go ahead and connect here. And Eric, if you can give me a thumbs up in the private chat, just to let me know when that's you've added her name. That way I know. Okay. Let's get started with this story about Mayra Flores. So last year, I was trying to warn people that there was a red wave that was going to be coming, that it was on the way. So the first indication that I saw of this was when the Democrats lost the state of Virginia through the gubernatorial race. So the Republican won and Virginia was blue. It was a Democrat state. So something happened there. I talked about that on my show. They sent out everybody there to help the Democratic candidate win. They sent Obama, that's not Stacey Abrams. She didn't go to that one. They sent Obama, they sent Kamala Harris. Like, they really pulled out all the stops because they knew that at that point in time, it was a close race. The Republican candidate won. Now we have another candidate, a Republican candidate, that just won in a Democrat district. And not just any Democrat district. A Democrat district that has been blue since the 1800s in Texas. I was not familiar with her until last night. Many of you probably have never heard her name either. But this is interesting. So this was a special election similar to the election Nina Turner had last year against Shontel Brown. She won, and I have a clip I want to play for you about that and what this really means for the Democratic Party going forward. So here we go.
Meantime, Sean, the Department of Homeland Security is prepping punishments for the Border Patrol agents falsely accused of whipping Haitian migrants last year, despite so-called whips later being revealed to be long horse reins. They're getting them on quote-unquote administrative violations. But isn't this just an attempt, Sean, for the Biden administration to save face when they know that these agents did nothing wrong, but they gotta,
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know what this is. What is this video? This is definitely, oh, you know what? I think I must have clicked. Hold on. See what happens when I go live, guys. Did they not? Let me see.
Meantime, Sean, the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, that's my bad. Let me fix it. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Welcome to a Sabby moment. So here we go. Mayra Flores flips the House in a Texas special election.
And Steve, last night, Texas Republican Mayra Flores was able to flip a House seat in a special election. The Houston Chronicle reporting she'll be the first Mexican-born Congresswoman. Significant.
This is extremely significant. Here's the results here. Again, we're talking about South Texas going down to the Rio Grande Valley. Now, this is a congressional district it's a special election. The lines for this district are all going to change at the end of the year. So what she was elected to was a term that will only run for a few months. She's going to run in a different district this November. But this speaks to a story we've been talking about since the 2020 election, specifically along the border, the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. We have seen county after county, whether it's in this district or some of the districts to the west of it, where voters have moved 10, 20, 30, 40 points away from the Democrats and toward the Republicans. This district that Mayra Flores won last night, Barack Obama got more than 60% of the vote here when he last ran in 2012. Hillary Clinton won this district by 22 points. It's shifted that dramatically. Joe Biden carried it by 4 in 2020. And now in a special election, a Republican candidate has won it outright. We've seen shifts like this throughout South Texas. This, by the way, is the second most heavily Hispanic congressional district in the United States. We've talked about the potential shift among Hispanic voters. We certainly saw it in 2020. The question has been, would we see it in 2022? I think this result we got from Texas 34 last night definitely underscores the Hispanic vote could be up for grabs this fall in ways we haven't seen in a long time.
Oh, I have so much to say about this. Let me let it finish and then I'll come back in.
Like an 85+% Latino district, right, Steve?
Yeah, I think that's the second highest in the country.
Yeah. Steve Kornacki, thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Let's go back. There's something I want to point out about this district. So let's look at this map Let me come out here. Here we go.
And Steve, last night, Texas Republican Mayra Flores was able to flip a House seat in a special election. The Houston Chronicle reporting she'll be the first Mexican-born Congresswoman. Significant.
This is extremely significant. Here's the results here. Again, we're talking about South Texas going down.
Okay, let's look at this map. I want you to see this district. Let me fall back for just a second. This is the district that she won right here. A little bit to the left of Corpus Christi, right here in the red. And I want you to look at the percentages here. She won 51%. Sanchez, 43.3%. And Coronado, 4.1%. So it wasn't as close as I think people thought it was going to be. There was a difference of 2,220 votes. I guess that is still kind of close to some people, but still, I expected this percentage difference between Flores and Sanchez to be closer, but it's not. What stands out to you about this district? Looking at where it's positioned in Texas, what may be one of their top concerns? Immigration. And this was one of the areas that Kamala Harris is supposed to be in charge of, that Democrats said that they were going to fix. Immigration is still an issue. It still takes too long for people to become an immigrant in this country. And this is something that the Democrats said they were going to fix. They ran on this as well. And look at what we see. So again, he goes on to say, and listen to the difference between when Obama won and Hillary won and what's happening now.
The Rio Grande Valley. Now, this is a congressional district it's a special election. The lines for this district are all going to change at the end of the year. So what she was elected to was a term that will only run for a few months. She's going to run in a different district this November. But this
So even though it's a special election and she's only going to be in office for a few months for this time period, she's going to run again in November. 9 times out of 10, she's probably going to win again in November. This is what we saw with Shontel Brown and Nina Turner, right? The incumbent that's in, they're probably going to win again. But listen to the percentage difference.
Speaks to a story we've been talking about since the 2020 election, specifically along the border, the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. We have seen county after county, whether it's in this district or some of the districts to the west of it, where voters have moved 10, 20, 30, 40 points away from the Democrats and toward the Republicans. This district that Mayra Flores won last night, Barack Obama got more than 60% of the vote here when he last ran in 2012. Hillary Clinton.
Barack Obama got more than 60% of the vote there.
Won this district by 22 points. It's shifted that dramatically. Joe Biden carried it by 4 in 2020, and now in a special election, a Republican candidate has won it outright. We've seen shifts like this throughout South Texas. This, by the way, is the second most heavily Hispanic congressional district in the United States. We've talked about the potential shift among Hispanic voters. We certainly saw it in 2020. The question has been, would we see it in 2022? I think this result we got from Texas 34 last night definitely underscores the Hispanic vote could be up for grabs this fall in ways we haven't seen in a long time.
And I do want to remind you, for those of you just joining, that district has been a blue district since the 1800s. Now, again, the Democratic Party was more conservative back then, but still, that's a long time. This is the beginning of the red wave. And I told people last year that this was coming because the Democrats, the Biden administration, he has not fulfilled his campaign promises. I knew this was going to be an issue. Listen to what he says about Hispanic voters. I want to say something about that.
5+% Latino district, right, Steve?
Yeah, I think that's the second highest in the country.
Yeah. Steve.
So I think there is this misconception amongst, for whatever reason, it seems to be more something that Democrats believe, that people who are Latino, for whatever reason, they assume that they're going to vote Democrat. That's actually not true. And I can talk to some of my friends that are Latino and they'll tell you that's actually not true. Some of them are conservative voters. So we shouldn't just make that assumption that they're automatically going to vote Democrat. We see this happening right now in Texas. We saw it happen last year in Virginia with the gubernatorial race. These blue districts are turning red. Now, some people don't believe that a red wave is even coming. They don't think that this is a possibility. I'm talking about the women of The View. They don't think it's true. Let's see what they had to say about this red wave. If people don't think that this is not concerning, what's already happening right now, it's coming. I told you, this is what happens when you have an administration that makes all these promises and they don't fulfill one of them, not one. So listen to this segment here. This is from Case Study QB, and this is from Fox Business, and they're talking about how the View cast members, how the View hosts do not believe that a red wave is coming. Listen, I think when it comes to The View, it's great to listen to that show if you want to hear about pop culture. It's great to listen to them if you want to hear about entertainment. But when it comes to politics, that should not be your go-to show. I'm sorry. That should not be your go-to show. So let's hear what they had to say on Fox Business.
Here's what I would warn. The red wave is coming. Republicans are going to win the midterms short of something unforeseen that I cannot predict now.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that.
Let's wait and see what the people voted. And I understand what you're saying, but let's remind people it's up to them to make this decision.
We don't know that that red wave is coming because that red wave is based on a big lie.
They couldn't tell her how she was wrong, though. I think Whoopi made her case. Let the people decide. They will. We just showed you how registered voters think about the economy and everything else. That's how people vote. Whoopi made her case. The red wave could be coming.
Based on a big,
that the election was stolen.
That is utter nonsense.
That refers to.
That's utter nonsense.
Not for them.
Nonsense.
Right.
But hold me back, sports facts, because I'm getting carried.
Right. So the woman at the beginning of the video from The View, she is the conservative host. So let's hear this one more time.
Here's what I would warn. The red wave is coming. Republicans are going to win the midterms short of something unforeseen that I cannot predict now.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that.
Let's wait and see what the people voted. And
So Joy says, well, you don't know that. It's already happening, Joy. They're already flipping districts. It's already starting. Actually, it started last year. So Virginia really should have been a big warning sign to the Democratic Party. I'm sorry. But that was a blue state ever since Obama. What happened? What happened? Now, I saw someone just said in the chat, that's right, Sebastian. Remember, The View didn't see Trump winning. That's true. That's why I said don't go to that show for politics. Just don't. Because Joy and Whoopi, they're saying, well, we don't know if it's coming. Let's wait and see, because they don't want it to happen, because they don't want to see a red wave. Do I want to see a red wave? No. But I know a blue wave isn't going to do anything either. I want to see a green, independent, third-party wave in this country. That's what I want to see. So they're scared. Whoopi and Joy are scared because I think deep down they know, they see what's happening here, but they don't want to accept it. I think Joy in particular still has Trump derangement syndrome. And see, because ever since Trump, a lot of times now people who are Democrat, when you mention conservative, they automatically think Trump conservative. And not everyone that is conservative is a Trump conservative. I know I have friends that are conservative that did not like Donald Trump. So hear them again.
I understand what you're saying, but let's remind people it's up to them to make this decision. We don't know that.
See, she looks scared, doesn't she? Here's Sonny.
That red wave is coming because that red wave is based on a big lie.
What's the lie? Mayra Flores just won last night. Is that a lie? No. I sincerely hope people are paying attention to what's going on. And I'm going to already go ahead and tell you what's going to happen. When this does happen, and it will, for the midterms, when Republicans take back the House and possibly the Senate, you know who they're going to blame? Democrats aren't going to blame Joe Biden, not the majority of them. They're going to blame people like us. They're going to blame progressives, leftists, socialists. Hell, they might even blame Susan Sarandon again. They might throw in Jill Stein again and say it's all her fault. Howie Hawkins. They'll blame everyone except for the current administration that's in charge. And the fact that they sit there and they tend to let Joe Manchin get away with so much, they should not be shocked when this happens. All of these bills that they are supposedly trying to pass or have tried to pass the past year and a half, that Joe Manchin has opposed, that Kyrsten Sinema has opposed, the Senate parliamentarian has gotten involved in this somehow. At the same time, I don't see them removing any of those people from any type of committee assignments. Joe Manchin gets to keep his seat and he gets to keep his assignments. And you need to ask yourself, why is that? Because at the end of the day, I believe they really want to have someone block legislation because they don't really want to give things to the people. They don't really want to. That's how this works. They got to have a scapegoat, right? Every president that I have lived through during my life, they had someone else to blame. When it was Obama, it was Lieberman. When Obama didn't have the Senate and the House, then of course it was Mitch McConnell, but that makes sense because he's a Republican. He's on the other side. What does not make sense is when you have people that are a part of your own party voting against what the party wants. Now I ask you this. Why is it okay for Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema to do that, but it's not okay for members of the squad and other progressives in the House to do the same thing? That's how you know the game is already rigged. The same way Joe Manchin can say, no, Bernie Sanders, I'm not voting for that bill. The same way he can say that, the same way the AOC, Cori Bush, and all the rest of them can say, you know what? Sorry, Pelosi, but I'm not voting for you as speaker because people need health care in this country. That's how I know it's a game. This is all a game. Now, there were some issues with Mayra Flores today on Twitter. So as you saw in the first video, they mentioned that she was the first Mexican-born American to now enter Congress. And that's not actually true. So I want to show you something. Oh, man. This really, this was an interesting moment. And by Mexican-born, it means that they were born in Mexico, moved to America, and became an American citizen. Just want to make that clear. So she tweeted this. As a proud hashtag walkaway, I can honestly say it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. If you voted for Biden or stayed at home in the 2020 elections, don't make the same mistake in 2022. And here's where people started to come after her, was right about here. I am the first Mexican-born American citizen to be elected into Congress. Now, why is that a problem? Because it turns out that there are already Mexican-born American citizens in Congress. That includes Congressman Chuy Garcia. He went on to retweet her and he said, "Welcome to Congress. First lesson, be sure to fact check." And so I scrolled down and I was like, oh crap, this is very telling. He went on to let her know, just in case you needed a list. Salud Ortiz Carballo, Jesus Chuy Garcia, which is him. Raul Ruiz, Octaviano Ambrosio Larazolo, Carlos B, Ruben Quijuen, and Chiaro Rodriguez. So he didn't. I gotta find Nick's tweet, man. Hold on, because Nick said something to her like, I don't even know who you are. Hold on, I'm gonna get to that for a second. So he went on to say, here is some more detailed information about all of the current foreign-born members of Congress. So he mentioned all the countries: Mexico, South Korea, Cuba, India, Taiwan, Japan, Vietnam, Somalia, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Ukraine, Poland. And this is from Infographic, the Foreign-Born Congress. Was that where he ended? Okay, yeah. So she came back. Let me come out of here for a second because Nick responded to her. I'm going to find that one. This is on me, Eric. Oh, this is your Twitter. Okay, I can't pull it up then. Crap. I can't pull it back up. But anyway, long story short, she saw that apparently, and then she sent another tweet. She didn't delete that one. She sent another tweet and she changed it and said that she's the first Mexican-born American woman to serve in Congress. And Nick from RBN responded and said, I don't even know who you are. So yeah, it's she's not starting out on the best foot there. But he really handed it to her, didn't he? He really did. Let me go to some of the comments in the chat. That was definitely entertaining this morning, I got to tell you. That really hit the nail on the head there. Thank you for the super chat, Wesley. I've seen Jimmy disagree with Tucker, set him straight several times. Jink is wrong when he says fake progressives never disagree. Exactly. In fact, there was an interview that Jimmy had with Tucker. I think it was Tucker Today. It wasn't in the normal studio. It was, I don't know, it looked like they were sitting in like a barn or something like that. But I think it was like Tucker Today. And Jimmy was correcting him on things, especially when it came to Medicare for All. And I also remember that Tucker Carlson originally did not agree with freeing Julian Assange until Jimmy Dore had that conversation with him. So people don't like to mention that, though. Sebastian says, I disagree. Most Latinos don't really care about immigration. They mostly care about the economy and they are socially conservative. That's interesting. That's interesting. I do know that district in particular, one of the complaints that they've been complaining about is illegal immigrants crossing the border. Gloria said the dim local politicians in South Texas enact policies like Republicans. Yeah, because that's also where, actually a little further to the left, but still down there in South Texas, that's where Henry Cuellar was. And he's a conservative Democrat. Rick says, second that, Gloria, I'm from Hidalgo County. It's just complacency. They take folks for granted. Thank you for the super chat, Andrew. I sent the story and the red wave is happening here in New Jersey. You guys see this? New Jersey, a blue state. Murphy barely won re-election. Dems had a net loss in the legislature. The Dem senator leader lost to someone who spent $153 on his campaign. Wow. That's huge. That's a small amount to spend on a campaign, just saying. Leroy, Latin community is not a monolith, just like black voters. Exactly. And Ashura, thanks for the super chat. Sabby with the red wave lipstick. Oh, oh my gosh, Ashura. Oh boy. Thanks for the super chat. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next story. Oh man. Let's do a fun one first. Or actually not really. I guess this isn't really fun, but it's entertaining. This is just a little quick one. I want to give you an update about something that Netflix has coming up. And this is going to blow your mind. If you have seen Squid Game, and I've seen Squid Game, and I absolutely love it, I have to tell you, this is going to blow your mind because it was very clear to me after reading this article that Netflix, the producers at Netflix, obviously did not learn a damn thing from the show Squid Game, which the central theme of that show was the dangers of capitalism. That was the central theme, how bad capitalism is. They are deciding to capitalize off of Squid Game. So here we go. Hold on to your seat for this one. If you've seen this in the chat, let me know, because this is crazy. Squid Game reality series coming to Netflix with biggest cash prize in TV history. The streaming home to hit several drama announced Squid Game, The Challenge, with 456 players in real life competition in a series of games for a record-setting 4.56 million purse. These fools. I didn't even play this. I don't know if I can play it. Is this going to be a copyright? Let me see. Is there anything on it? I don't know if they... Let's see. What does it say? Oh, that they have coming up for Squid Game. And I don't want to give anything away if you haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. But like I said, the central theme is the problems with capitalism. And for those of you who are in the chat and you have seen Squid Game, don't you think it's ridiculous that Netflix wants to make a reality TV show out of Squid Game? That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't seen it. They really did not learn the lesson of that show at all. At all. All right, let me go to the comments on Rockfin. Doobie-doobie-doo. Thank you for the tip on Rockfin, Roger Meadows. Okay, response to last night's show I missed regarding Steak Uger. You guys have all kinds of names for Jink. It's hilarious. Pretending that YouTube plays it down the middle and doesn't meddle. Steak Uger is the Jay-Z of independent YouTube media. That is not a compliment, even though it sounds like one. When Jay was coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s, what was known but couldn't be proven was Rockefeller Records was doing payola to famous radio personalities at NYC, most popular hip hop station at the time. This included radio personalities' boss, not just to promote his stuff, but to suppress his contemporaries. Wow, I didn't know that. Especially those who would have surpassed Jay, like Papoose, who was heavily suppressed. I remember Ghostface from Wu-Tang and Nas used to complain about this all the time. And the radio personalities would say, oh, come on, don't hate on Jay. Huh. So Jay got to say, he was number one in the rap game without letting any competition rise until Nas had to come with ether, as he said, the feces that make your soul burn slow, to destroy his entire mainframe. After Force the Vote, it seems TYT got ethered by Jimmy and their subscriptions took a hit and never recovered since. It hit hard because they were cool at one point and used to be around each other. All the time. So Nas knew exactly where all the pressure points were to hit. Art imitating life. Steak Uger left out that in an interview with 60 Minutes CEO of YouTube, said they are purposely suppressing independent news to make way for corporate. Thank you so much for that, Roger. I did not know that about Jay-Z. So that is interesting to know. That's interesting. All right, let's go ahead into our next story. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to tell you this, but after all of the money that the United States government has given to Ukraine, they are giving more aid to Ukraine. Let's go ahead and get into that. Biden administration announces additional $1 billion in military aid for Ukraine. Unbelievable. The Biden administration announced on Wednesday it was providing an additional $1 billion in military aid to Ukraine to fight Russia, a package that includes shipments of additional howitzers, ammunition, and coastal defense systems. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke by phone with Ukrainian President Zelensky on Wednesday ahead of the announcement, which the Pentagon said included providing Ukraine with 18 howitzers, 36,000 rounds of howitzer ammunition, and 2 Harpoon coastal defense systems. I informed President Zelensky that the United States is providing another $1 billion in security assistance for Ukraine, including additional artillery and coastal defense weapons, as well as ammunition for the artillery and advanced rocket systems that the Ukrainians need to support their defense operations in Donbas. We also discussed Secretary Austin's efforts in Brussels today to coordinate additional international support for the Ukrainian armed forces. I have to say something here for just a second. At this point in the game, based on what I've seen and based on what I've read, what is this going to do? It is very clear to any of you that have been paying attention, they are losing. They are losing. They cannot win this. So why is the United States government still giving them more aid? Do you know we have people in this country right now that can't afford gas to get to work? Where's the money for that? We still have a baby formula shortage in this country. We have expensive grocery prices. We can't pay the American people a living wage. We can't even give them a $15 minimum wage. And by the way, Democrats voted against that as well as Republicans, by the way. I want to remind you, 8 Democrats voted against it in the Senate. There was no money for that, they said. We don't have it. But they have given billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, while the American people here are continuing to struggle and continuing to suffer. And what I would like to see, as many times as I've seen people interview Ro Khanna, I've seen him on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Fox Business. I would like for them to push him, since he seems to be the only one that's willing to go on, and ask him, when are they going to do something financially to get Americans out of this rut? Because you're already showing the American people that the money is there. You're just not giving it to us. When are they going to cut this bloated military budget and distribute those funds to the American people? Whether you put this in the school system, whether you give us a living wage, have at it. With all that money, you could have given people universal health care. I'm going to get into that in just a second about some numbers to show you why that's not happening too. So let's go back in. Unbelievable. The latest weapon package comes as Ukraine's military is burning through its Soviet-era ammunition, while Ukrainian officials have pleaded with the West to send additional heavy weaponry as the war with Russia girds on. Yeah, but people are pleading right here in America. Western intelligence and military officials believe the war is at a critical stage that could determine the long-term outcome of the conflict, while Russia has amassed a significant artillery advantage around 2 key cities in eastern Ukraine. Zelensky thanked Biden on Wednesday for his consistent, unwavering support. I'm sure he did. And for mobilizing the international security, according to a statement from Ukrainian president's office. The security support from the United States is unprecedented. It brings us closer to a common victory over the Russian aggressor. You are not going to win. Right now, he is bleeding us dry. Bleeding us dry. And I hope more people call this out. When they lose, I hope more people call this out, that you gave them all this money and all this aid. And by the way, for people who are telling you that it's just weapons, it's not just weapons. And I'm going to show you in just a second. You gave them all this aid and all this money for them to lose. Here we go. A Pentagon spokesman said the U.S. has now committed more than $5 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since Russia invaded in February. The latest tranche of weapons includes ammunition for high mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMAR. Let me just say HIMARS. I don't know why I was going to do that. HIMARS. And tactical vehicles to recover equipment, as well as thousands of secure radios and thousands of night vision devices, thermal sight stand, other optics. And I have another question before I get into this part. Why? No, I'm going to say it. Why isn't anybody else helping them out? Why are we the ones funding all the money? Why are we the ones fronting all the money? Where's everybody else? Can someone answer that question? Why do we have to be the ones to come in and help and bail them out? Where are their allies? They're a part of NATO, right? Where are all the other ones? Why aren't they giving them aid? I don't know. I don't know. I'm frustrated, you guys. I'm so frustrated about this. It goes on to say the package is expected to include weapons and supplies that can be quickly shipped from existing U.S. stockpiles, as well as issuing new contracts for long-term supplies. For something happened here. Yeah, I think they forgot a word there. Yeah, CNN, you forgot a word. Interesting. The U.S. will also provide, there's more, $225 million in humanitarian assistance to Ukraine, which Biden said will go towards supplying safe drinking water, critical medical supplies, health care, food, shelter, and cash for families to purchase essential items. This is the part that really made me want to just rip my hair out. The U.S. will also provide $225 million in humanitarian assistance. This will go towards supplying safe drinking water. We have cities and towns right here in the United States that don't have safe drinking water. What about people in Flint? And by the way, it's not just Flint. There are towns like Flint in this country that are not in Michigan. It's not just Flint. Safe drinking water. So you can give someone else safe drinking water, but you can't give us safe drinking water? Is that how this works? Everyone should be livid about this. They go on to say critical medical supplies and health care. Oh, isn't that so nice that you want to give someone else health care, but you can't even give us health care? You can't even fix the health care system in the United States, but you're going to give health care to someone else. Someone explain that to me. Tell me how that makes any sense. There's more. Food, shelter, food and shelter, ladies and gentlemen. We have food shortages right here in the United States. We have millions of homeless people in the United States. We can't provide shelter to our own damn people, but we're going to give shelter to people abroad. Funny how we magically can come up with the money to do it for someone else. But when it's our own people right here in the United States, they don't have the money. This is really fucked up. And I want more people to know about this. I don't want people to just turn on mainstream media and just say, oh, okay, they're giving them more like weapons. And no, as I just showed you, it's not just weapons. This is terrible. This is terrible. And another question I have, let me come back out. I'm sorry, I'm frustrated. Why isn't AOC, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Jamal Bowman, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, why aren't they calling this out? They're supposed to be the progressives. Why aren't they calling this out? And don't tell me they haven't done interviews, because I've seen them on interviews recently. They've said nothing about it. You know why? Because they voted for it. That's why. To the squad members in Congress that voted for this, how can you hold your head up high and walk down the street and walk past your constituents in your district and not feel some type of shame, knowing that you voted for these bills to give these essentials to people in Ukraine, but you're not fighting to give these same essentials to people right here in your own district? And I'm going to emphasize district, since AOC likes to say, that's not my district. So I'm going to emphasize district. Because I've heard from people that live in AOC's district, and I got to tell you, the story that she's telling is not the story that I'm hearing from them. This is awful. Now, I want to show you where this money has been going over time. I did a little bit of digging because I did want to break this down for you to show you exactly what they have been giving them. 4 ways to understand the $54 billion in U.S. spending on Ukraine. Now, this was in May, so this doesn't include the recent funding that they just gave them. They have a chart. So the more than $40 billion in additional aid to Ukraine approved by Congress on Thursday, that's when that $40 billion was approved, brings the total U.S. commitment during the invasion to roughly $54 billion when combined with the package passed in March. Now, here's the chart I wanted to show you. I'm going to have to scooch down with each one here. Whoops. Okay. Traditional foreign aid, $31.4 billion. For economic support fund, $9.4 billion. That's just economic support. That's not weapons. You see what I mean? This is why I wanted you to see this, because I hear people making these talking points and they're saying, oh, that's just for weapons. No, it's not. Military and security assistance, $6 billion. Other military, weapons and other supplies, $12.5 billion. Let's scroll down. There's more. Grants and loans. Oh, they can give out loans. What do you know? They can give them grants. They don't even want to give us grants. Grants and loans for military supplies, $4.7 billion. Food assistance, healthcare, and other aid, $7 billion. That should be our $7 billion. You see what I'm saying? That should be our $7 billion for food assistance, healthcare, and other aid. That money should have gone to us. And I know some people may hear this and they may think I sound kind of cruel or kind of harsh, but considering the times that we're living in, we're dealing with inflation too. No, we're not in a war, but people are struggling here. You have people making $7.25 an hour minimum wage, and they're paying $6 a gallon for gas. That $7 billion for food assistance, healthcare, and aid should have gone to us. And God forbid you have some type of medical condition and you don't have health insurance right now because you're really screwed. Let's look at the rest. Migration and refugee assistance. Oh, well, what do you know? 1.8 billion. Can't give that to us, though. Can't give us any migration assistance. Maybe not refugee, but you can't give us any assistance to migrate. Assistance for Europe, Eurasia, and Central Asia. 1.1 billion. Other foreign aid. I want to know what that other is. I don't like other categories. Other foreign aid, 1.5 billion. U.S. military deployments and intelligence, 8.1 billion. Here's the part that's going to piss some of you off, especially if you have children. So hold on to your seat for this one. Oh, I guess can't highlight it. Administration for children and families, 0.9 billion. Well. After they cut the child tax credit here. Diplomatic programs and other, again, I want to know what the other is, 0.5 billion. And enforcing sanctions, 0.3 billion. This is not acceptable. If there's anything to make people want to get out in the streets, and I've talked about this before, the economic crisis that we are dealing with in this country should be enough to push everybody out. And that's what drives me crazy, because it's really hard to organize right now. It's hard to get people to even want to do it. I'm looking at videos and I'm looking at the numbers of people that came out after George Floyd. And don't get me wrong, yes, that should have happened. But where is that same outrage right now? Why can't we get everybody out right now? Why? Because this is a class issue. See, that's the difference. One was a racial issue, injustice issue. This is a class issue. So people who are wealthy, people who are upper middle class, they're not hurting as much as the rest of us. So try convincing them to come out and protest. They'll tell you, well, you just need to save more. You need to be better with your money. You need to conserve. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But everyone should be floored by what I just showed you. That right there tells you that the money is there. And you see how they're choosing to use it. I'm going to go to some of the comments here. Jay the informant, these old ninjas in South Carolina are the problem, voting for Clyburn for fish. I know, yeah. I went to, I don't know if you know this, Jay, but I went to undergrad at the University of South Carolina. And that was when I first heard of Jim Clyburn. And I was like, who? And people there, they talk about him like he's like this king or something, all because he has a fish fry. And I was like, that's why you like him? Because he has a fish fry? I can fry fish for you for free. Like, come on. Sherry said the reason the U.S. is the only one giving cash is because the rest of the allies know they are going to lose. I think you're right, Sherry. So Gato, the rich want this war because they hate that Russia and China can regulate their economies. Biden is just their tool. And I'll add on to that and say, and he's also their fool. Angela, online cable newsletters are atrocious with spelling errors. Editing and proofreading seem to have gone the way of the dodo bird. Thank you for this super chat, Salgato. Poor People's Campaign march in DC this weekend. Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. I reported about that when it was first announced last year. But yes, that is this weekend in DC. I know a couple people that are going there. Welcome, Mr. Green, Mr. My Gangrene Thumb. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Whoop, whoop. Hello, Zaga Nostra. I found this channel via Jimmy Dore. Thanks, JD. This lady is speaking the truth. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome. Mr. Gangrene Thumb, I've subscribed. Doobie doo. Thank you and welcome. Welcome. Shout out to the Traveler for this super chat. And it doesn't help the situation knowing that money we keep sending to Ukraine is ending up on the black market. I've heard about that too. Brent, please clip this story. I got some sharing to do. Okay, Eric. I'll let Eric know. We usually, on Friday ones, we usually clip all three. Thanks for the super chat, Ashura. Because Trump not in office is why people won't come. Boom. That's a good example, Ashura. That's a really good point. You're right. Because that was the thing. Like once Trump lost, a lot of people went back home. Thank you for this super chat as well, Andrew. I do barbecues. Can I be president now? Thank you for the super chat, Colin. Not sure if you saw my in news stream where I played Bowman do a speech at my teacher advocacy event. And he said that Congress can do anything. Okay, I'm going to have to watch that, Colin. In fact, I'll probably jump on that right after I'm done with Colin tonight. I want to see that. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, Colin got him on video. I missed your previous super chats. I hope I got them now. Thanks for the, I did. Thanks for the super sticker, Abending71. Thanks for this super chat, Andrew. This is why I stick with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, at least the episodes when Regis hosted. Jimmy Kimmel was too milquetoast as a host. Thank you for this super chat, Ashura. N has part 2 on Stinking Points Rich Funding. You guys with the names. Oh, man. Thanks for that. Garble says how many lead pipes could be replaced with that money? Right? Right? Okay, I think I got all of those. All right, let me go ahead into my final story tonight. And I don't know if everyone has seen this, but Jimmy Dore was on Tucker Carlson again. And Case Study QB, shout out to Case. He clipped this. I didn't get to see the entire interview, but I saw this clip. And I want everyone to hear this. Because when I saw this, whether you like Jimmy Dore or not, I know some of you in the chat don't. But when I saw this, I thought to myself, man, I really wish people could hear this also on CNN and MSNBC. Those channels aren't going to invite him on. You have to understand that. They really don't invite people to the left on. That's why you don't see, you used to see Bree come on there every now and then when Bernie was running, but that's because she was his press secretary. Notice you don't see them on there now. Like once the campaign was over, you don't see people like us on CNN or MSNBC. They don't want us on. They don't want their liberal audience to hear what we have to say. Could you imagine them bringing me on there and telling people, yeah, both of these parties are corrupt. Don't donate to them. Use your money for mutual aid and let's organize with direct action and labor movements in this country. Yeah, they would, I think they would faint if they heard that. So here's the clip that Case was able to clip from the interview. And I want you guys to hear this. There's a couple of things I want to say about this.
We believe he's a loyal American, not on Putin's team. He joins us tonight. Now, are you keeping a list of all the things Putin is doing?
Russia's very powerful. They control a lot of things. They overthrew our government. They committed a coup on America. They control the gas prices, and Russia's responsible for our inflation. And let me just tell you, last time I checked, Russia couldn't get their good vodka into Trader Joe's. So I don't think they're really controlling everything like they say they are, okay? So the Democrats right now are in power. They have complete control of government. And like all politicians, they don't want to take the blame for anything. They want you to blame everybody and everything or anybody and anything for the pain that you're feeling right now, except blame them, the people with the power right now. And so that's why everything comes back to Putin, because Putin is a proxy for their Trump hate, right? And you said Larry Summers blamed January 6th on inflation, which is an old Clinton advisor. So what they don't want us to realize is that we have a unipolar government, right? So if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Goldman Sachs. If you Mitch McConnell, the same thing. You're voting for our oligarchy, and they don't want you to know that. And as soon as people wake up that we've been being screwed by the same billionaires that control Joe Biden, that control the Republican Party, that's what scares them. They don't want us to. They don't want me on your show talking to your audience, telling them that people on the left, we smell a rat. And we know that Joe Biden is completely controlled by the oligarchy and the corporations. And right now, the American people are paying the price. What are we paying the price for? Not for Putin's inflation, not for Putin's gas hike. This is Joe Biden's invasion. This is NATO's invasion. This is Joe Biden's policies. These are Joe Biden's policies that are wrecking the dollar, that are propping up the ruble to it's stronger than it's ever been, and they're blaming a foreign country. Imagine if Trump did that. They'd be making jokes about it every night on the nightly news. Of course they're not. I mean, the nightly talk shows. But of course they're not. They're all coddling. You saw Jimmy Kimmel have to coddle that old man, the guy who probably got stuck in a couch before he left that place. This is who.
I'm sorry. He said he probably got stuck in a couch. I'm sorry. That part is funny. Oh, man.
And you know Joe Biden's not making the decisions. We all know that he's mentally impaired, and we all know that Kamala Harris isn't making those decisions because she also can't speak in clear sentences. So who is really running the country? Well, whoever runs the Democratic Party, which is a handful of billionaires, those are the ones. So if you're paying a higher price, they did a controlled demolition of our economy with the COVID lockdowns, and nobody wants to take responsibility for that. COVID lockdowns, which Johns Hopkins University proved saved 0 lives. They didn't make any impact on the death rate whatsoever, right?
I can tell you. Well, let me let it finish, and I'll come back and tell you what happened here in Boston in reference to what he's just saying.
So that they don't want to take responsibility for that. They want you to blame your neighbor. They won't want you to be angry at the oligarchs or Fauci or Big Pharma or the media that controls you, that makes you think that essential medicines are poison. They want you to blame your neighbor. It's everybody is a Trumper or they're not. It's you're with us or against us. And that's the only message they have left. And then they have censorship left because they have failed, Tucker. Why do you think it is that Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are the leaders in the House and Nancy in the Senate, and Nancy is the leader because they're not leaders. Those people have negative charisma. I wouldn't ask Chuck Schumer directions to the freeway. Why are they the leaders? Because they're the ones who take the most money from the billionaire class that actually runs this country. They take the money from them and they disperse it to the other members of Congress, so they vote for them as leader, not because they're leaders, but because they're the most corrupt.
Man, is that true. Great, Jimmy Dore. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Tucker couldn't really say anything after that. He couldn't really say anything after that. Like, what do you say, right? Lewis said Jimmy D took over Tucker's show. Okay, let's break some things down here.
We believe he's a loyal American, not on Putin's team. He joins us tonight. Now, are you keeping a list of all the things Putin is doing?
Russia's very powerful. They control a lot of things. They overthrew our government. They committed a coup on America. They control the gas prices, and Russia's responsible for our inflation. And let me just tell you.
So I do want to add in this part here. Yeah, that they're being sarcastic there for people who don't know. Just got to say that. Yeah, it's really interesting to me because I continue to hear Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, CNN, MSNBC. I continue to hear them blame everything on Russia. And I think it's important to note that the reason why we're in the situation that we're in, even before this invasion started, people were struggling last year. Let's all remember what happened last year. You had people that were kicked off of unemployment on Labor Day. You had a lot of labor movements that happened last year. John Deere was one of them. Kellogg's was another one. There was the nurses' hospital here in Massachusetts. They were on strike for 10 months, but they got what they wanted, you know, and they did that through mutual aid. See, that's where mutual aid comes in. So you had a lot of labor movements. You had people kicked off unemployment. And also last year was when some of the companies started telling employees that they had to come back into the office, to physically come back into the office. I know, because I was one of those people that had to come back in. So there was that. And people were not happy. Economically, the economy was still not good. Like, that's the thing. Yes, it's worse now because of inflation, but even last year, the economy was still bad. That was before the invasion. So for Joe Biden to have these press conferences and to make it seem like, oh, things just all of a sudden went bad economically because of Putin, it's bullshit. And every one of you should call it out. I want you to remember what you were doing last year. So I just wanted to remind everyone what happened last year. And don't also forget the eviction moratorium. So there's that.
Last time I checked, Russia couldn't get their good vodka into Trader Joe's. So I don't think they're really controlling everything like they say they are. Okay. So the Democrats, right?
Speaking of which, Trader Joe's employees are now trying to start a union as well. Just wanted to add that in.
Right now are in power. They have complete control of government. And like all politicians, they don't want to take the blame for anything. They want you to blame everybody and everything, or anybody and anything, for the pain that you're feeling right now, except blame them, the people with the power right now. And so that's why everything comes back to Putin, because Putin is a proxy for their Trump hate, right? And you said Larry Summers blamed January 6th on inflation, which is an old Clinton advisor. So what they don't want us to realize is that we have a unipolar government, right? So if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Goldman Sachs. If you Mitch McConnell, the same thing. You're voting for our oligarchy. True. And they don't want.
Okay, so he calls out the corporations. That's important for people to hear. And I'm glad he put it that way. When you're voting for Joe Biden, you're also voting for Goldman Sachs. You're also voting for Wells Fargo. I'm glad he put it that way. A lot of times people go out and they vote. They don't think about the money aspect. I didn't think about the money aspect. When I was a Democrat, like hardcore liberal, I didn't think about that at all. I was just told that the Democratic Party was the better party because they cared about the social issues. I didn't look into where these candidates were getting their funding from, who was supporting them financially, what they were invested in. I didn't look into those things. I fell for a lot of identity politics back then, especially when I was in college. I fell for the whole Barack Obama. He could be the first Black president. I fell for that. And I grew up and I started doing my own research. And so what he just said on Fox News, you'd be surprised how many people I talk to that don't know about the money. They don't understand that it doesn't matter if someone's a Democrat or Republican. Going into that two-party system, they're corporate, period. And when you're taking all this money, and I'm going to show you something in just a second in reference to what he says later, when you're taking all these money from all these different corporations, you're bought and you're paid for. Someone like Joe Biden's been bought and paid for 40 years. He's been a politician that long. And people really thought that they were going to be able to push him left. Get out of here. What did you think? That he would give up his donors? No way. You got people like Joe Manchin. They're bought and paid for by the coal industry. That's why nothing gets done for us. So I'm glad he put it that way. So people do understand that when you go out and you vote in the two-party system, at least in DC per se, in Congress for those positions and for the president, you're voting for the corporations that donate to them.
want you to know that. And as soon as people wake up that we've been being screwed by the same billionaires that control Joe Biden, that control the Republican Party, that's what scares them. They don't want they don't want me on your show talking to your audience, telling them that people on the left, we smell a rat. And we know that Joe Biden is completely controlled by the oligarchy and the corporations. And
they don't want you talking to anyone that is not in the same circle as you politically. They don't want, if you're a Democrat, they don't want you talking to Republicans. But it's okay for these Democrat politicians and these Republican politicians to have bipartisanship, but it's not okay for the people who vote for them to talk to each other. You see how that works?
Right now, the American people are paying the price. What are we paying the price for? Not for Putin's inflation, not for Putin's gas hike. This is Joe Biden's invasion. This is NATO's invasion. This is Joe Biden's policies. These are Joe Biden's policies that are wrecking the dollar, that are propping up the ruble to it's stronger than it's ever been, and they're blaming a foreign country. Imagine if Trump did that. They'd be making jokes about it every night on the nightly news. Of course,
they would. I mean, let's be real. Like, I've seen them make a lot of excuses for Joe Biden, at least CNN and MSNBC. I've seen them make a lot of excuses for Joe Biden for the reason why the economy is the way that it is right now. But let's be real. If it was a Republican president that was in office right now, they would be blaming that president. They wouldn't make all these excuses for them. I've seen this happen my whole life.
Of course they're not. I mean, the nightly talk shows, but of course they're not. They're all coddling. You saw Jimmy Kimmel have to coddle that old man, the guy who probably got stuck in a couch before he left that place. This is who's, and you know, Joe Biden's not making the decisions. We all know that he's mentally impaired, and we all know that Kamala Harris isn't making those decisions because she also can't speak in clear sentences. So who is really running the country? Well, whoever runs the Democratic Party, which is a handful of billionaires, those are the ones. So if you're paying a higher price.
And I'm glad he mentioned that. Whoever is running the Democratic Party, which is a handful of billionaires, people need to hear that. People need to hear that both of those parties are bought and paid for, that they are owned by corporations, by banks like Wells Fargo. That's the reason why someone like Obama was bailing out the banks instead of bailing out the American people when we had the housing crisis in 2008. That's why they legislate the way that they do.
They did a controlled demolition of our economy with the COVID lockdowns, and nobody wants to take responsibility for that. COVID lockdowns, which Johns Hopkins University proved saved 0 lives. They didn't make any impact on the death rate.
Okay, I was going to respond to that part. So I'm in one of those states that was locked down. I live in Massachusetts. Boston was locked down. It was rough. It sucked. I'm just going to be honest. It was a hard time. And we were locked down for a while. Our numbers were still high. A friend of mine, a scientist, he sent me the data too as well. Our numbers were still high during that time. Now, eventually they started to go down, but so did the other states, and they were going down at the same time. But even when we were locked down, our numbers were still high.
Right? So that they don't want to take responsibility for that. They want you to blame your neighbor. They won't want you to be angry at the oligarchs or Fauci or Big Pharma or the media that controls you, that makes you think that essential medicines are poison. They want you to blame your neighbor. It's everybody is a Trumper or they're not. It's you're with us or against us. And that's the only message they have left. And then they have censorship left because they have failed, Tucker. Why do you think it is that Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are the leaders in the House and Nancy in the Senate, and Nancy is the leader because they're not leaders. Those people have negative charisma. I wouldn't ask Chuck Schumer directions to the freeway. Why are they the leaders? Because they're the ones who take the most money from the billionaire class that actually runs this country. They take the money from them and they disperse it to the other members of Congress, so they vote for them as leader, not because they're leaders, but because they're the most corrupt.
Okay, that part right there. The part that he mentioned about Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer taking the most money. I want to show you something. Let's go over to Chuck Schumer first. By the way, His real name is Charles. Let's see how much money Chuck Schumer is taking. You can look this up yourself on Open Secrets, by the way. This is public information. Charles Schumer. Now, this is for the period of 2017 through 2022. I am going to change this part here. It says campaign committee only. Why is it not letting me? Okay. I'm going to change this to campaign committee and leadership PAC combined because I want to see all of it. I want you to see who's donating to Chuck Schumer because this is going to explain a lot to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's a couple I want to point out. Democracy Engine, over $300,000. This is one of those companies where other companies can join the platform to donate to politicians. It's a good way to kind of hide yourself, I think, in a way as well. Next Era Energy, over $300,000. Blackstone Group is not good. Let me come in here. I thought I looked them up. Let me go back. Blackstone Group, they're an asset company. That's over $200,000. There's some similarities here I want to point out. Alphabet Inc. also donates to Ro Khanna. I've mentioned that before. That's over $200,000. That includes Google. Google is a part of Alphabet Inc. Just something for you to remember. And surprise, surprise, Blue Cross Blue Shield, over $160,000. And United Health Group, over $159,000. So here you have Chuck Schumer taking money from two different health insurance companies. Chuck Schumer is not going to vote for Medicare for all. That's how this works. And I can tell you, based on a lot of the candidates, a lot of the politicians that I've looked up, a lot of them are taking money from Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's a lot of money. Let's go back in. We can go down here. Microsoft. I'm just pointing out certain ones that stand out to me. American Express. And this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, is troublesome to all of us. That's BlackRock, over $140,000. If you're not familiar with BlackRock, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, they are typically shareholders a lot of times. They're invested in a lot of companies. They're invested in mainstream media. That includes CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Now you get why they have the talking points that they have. They're invested in them. BlackRock is also the company that's been buying up real estate, that's been pushing people out of their neighborhoods and leading more way to gentrification. He's taking money from them. So when Chuck Schumer comes to you, if you're in his district, and he tells you, hey, we're going to improve the housing situation, we're going to build more affordable housing, and you're seeing this stream, I want you to ask him, how is that possible when he's taking money from BlackRock? Ask him that question. So there's that. Lockheed Martin, over $130,000. PricewaterhouseCoopers, also known as PwC, over $120,000. Goldman Sachs, over $118,000. So, this past year, Chuck Schumer has been trying to pretend like he's down for progressive issues. That's only because he's up for re-election this year. He's not down for progressive issues if he's taking money from these people. Period. So that's that. Now I want to make a comparison because I also pulled up Mitch McConnell. I'm going to go to Nancy Pelosi in a second. I also pulled up Mitch McConnell because I want to show you how it's really just one corporate party. Same thing I'm going to do here. We're going to look at campaign committee and leadership PAC combined, just like I did for Chuck. And again, same period, 2017 to 2022. I want to point out certain ones on here that they seem to share. Mitch McConnell, he's a Republican, but he's also taking money from Blackstone Group. And he's also taking money from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So you see, it doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican. The health insurance companies have bought off Republicans and Democrats. The jig is up. And I wish I would have known about open secrets a long time ago. But this is why they're not trying to really do anything for us in reference to healthcare. Nothing that's not going to benefit. Something like Medicare for all would not be beneficial to Blue Cross Blue Shield, obviously. That's why they don't want it. So that's a comparison between red and blue. And I'll also show you as well. Mitch McConnell is also taking money from United Health Group, over $84,000. So neither Republicans or Democrats are going to give you Medicare for all. It is one corporate party. One more I'll show you and I'll go to Nancy. Raytheon, over $70,000. And the list goes on. I don't have time to go through all of them for you, but the list goes on and on, you guys. Like, for all of them. But Chuck Schumer, let me go back to Chuck, because I did want to show you that total amount so we can go to the summary here. I don't want to see your face. That's an old picture. Chuck Schumer doesn't look like that anymore. I know they need to change this picture. What is this from? 1992? Okay. So far, Chuck Schumer has raised. Now they split this up into two different categories: securities and investment. And then there's democracy engine. But I'm looking at, if I'm looking at this correctly, between 2017 and 2022, he's raised over $36 million. Over $36 million. So when Jimmy tells you he takes the most money, he's right. Cash on hand, over $37 million. So that's that. Now let's see if I can add in Nancy really quick. Sorry, Eric, I forgot not to go back to the search engine. I know they're not trying to ask me for no money. Okay. Okay. Let's do the same thing with her. Her picture looks a little bit more current, but that picture of Chuck looks like it's from the 90s. He don't look like that no more. Come on. Okay. Let's switch this again. Let's go to campaign committee and why is this so slow? Campaign committee and leadership PAC combined. I just want to be consistent. Nancy Pelosi, same time period. Well, actually, this is 2021 and 2022. So actually, this is even worse. So she's taken more money than Chuck Schumer has. She has raised over 28 million because this is from 2021 to 2022, and his time period was 2017 to 2022. So that's how she can afford all that damn ice cream. Cash on hand. Looks like she spent a lot. She spent 24 million already. That makes sense because I believe she's up for re-election this year as well. Yeah, she's up again this year too. Because Shahid just lost, and I'm trying to see if I can bring him back on. So her cash on hand is 13.7 million, a little bit over that. And I want to look at her contributors as well. Now, let me go back up here, making sure I'm on the right. Let's go to contributors. I would like to break it down and not just look at summary. Okay, so her contributors, again, you're going to see some similarities. Again, she's also taking donations from Alphabet Inc. Again, that includes Google. She got a lot of money from the University of California. I don't know what that's all about, but she's got a lot there. And this is from 2021 to 2022. So if I go further back from her, these amounts are going to be higher. Comcast Corporation, that includes mainstream media, by the way. Wells Fargo, the woman whose district has one of the largest homeless populations in the United States, is taking money from Wells Fargo. The same company, or one of the same companies that Obama let off during the 2008 housing crisis. That's one of the companies that Obama bailed out. Surprise, surprise. Boeing Company. And what do you know? Blue Cross Blue Shield. So you see what I mean? They have a lot of the same ones. Microsoft Corporation, Stanford's in there, state of California. And then her list doesn't go past. Like I said, that hers is just for a year. But the point that I want to bring to you is this. All of them are bought and paid for. And the three that I just showed you, the two that Jimmy mentioned, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and then I threw in Mitch McConnell there because he's Republican. So I just wanted to mix it up a bit and show you there's really not that much of a difference in reference to the donors. All of them taking money from health insurance companies. All of them. That's why they're not bringing the Medicare for All bill to the floor for a vote. And I'm pretty sure Nancy Pelosi told the squad not to do it. So they didn't do it. So hopefully this helps everybody connect the dots. So what Jimmy said was right. And like I said before, whether you like Jimmy or not, that's not the question you should be asking yourself. You should be asking yourself about the information. And the information he presented is correct. I just showed you the data. So that's that. I'll take that comment on Rockfin, Eric. Thanks you for the tip on Rockfin, Roger Meadows. People forget we had a red wave out here in Long Island, just like New Jersey and Virginia. These warning movies should stop, as they are supposed to be a warning for the people not to do this, but instead are saying, hey, that is a great idea. Let's do this. This Ukraine funding passed by veto-proof majority. The money Chicago Congressman Danny Davis, National Infrastructure Bank bill can put tens of trillions to fund our infrastructure without going into debt, raising taxes, or creating new taxes. I am pushing them to make an exception that when it comes to public-private partnerships, the bank should show preference towards worker co-ops. If none or not enough exists, incentivize them to start, build, proliferate them, partner with. Call Angela to bring Alphica on. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Sabster community need to know about it. Thanks, Roger. And thanks for the tip as well, Jean. Keep up the great work, Sabby. Thank you so much, Jean. And I think there's one more. Thanks for this tip as well, Roger. It was very important that JD said to a Fox News audience that Biden is controlled by the corporations. Wall Street and the wealthy, speaking against the Fox narrative spoken on all of their shows, that he is being controlled by the AOC far left. Other Fox News shows need to have Dore on to push against their narrative of Joe Biden being controlled by the AOC far left. 100% agree, Roger Meadows, because that's been a big talking point that I've been hearing as well. Thank you so much for that. All right, awesome. And I just want to make sure all the patron banners went across. Did you get the third one, Roger? If not, I just put it up. I just put the third patron banner up. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Roger, I am going to break for a second, and then I'll come back and we'll be ready to do
Is Roger here?
I'm sorry, not Roger, Eric. Okay. Yeah, we'll be ready to do call in when I get back. And you got the link for it, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it here too. Guys, the call in show tonight is Jimmy Dore for president. I want to get your opinions about that. So the question is, Jimmy Dore announced on Sab's podcast that he's considering running for president. What are your thoughts? So I'm putting the link in the chat as well, and I'll come back and put it up here again and pin it to the chat. I'll be back.
All right. We will see you shortly. Here we go. Actually, wait, where's this banner? Here's the one I want. There we go. Sabby call-in is starting soon. So how's everybody doing on this Friday? I'm just going to shrink this like that. So I think we got some super chats in here I should get to. All right. Let's see. We had a chat here from Raymond. Tucker Carlson is the only major news source to give Jimmy and Glenn a voice. True that. Thanks for this super chat. If I'm sure a controlled demolition is Max Blumenthal's joke. Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool that Jimmy's basically reading Max Blumenthal's lines on Tucker Carlson. I saw this come across LPA Film becoming a new member on YouTube. Thank you for that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I noticed this one from Brandon saying that Tucker Carlson had all of his sponsors pull out due to pressure from liberal institutions. Oh, is my mic too quiet? Here, let me check this. We'll make sure we're right on it here. All right. I'll try to give you a little more volume. All right. Tucker Carlson had all his sponsors pull out due to pressure from liberal institutions like Media Matters, ironically leading to him spreading leftism like this more often. And yeah, I thought that was that's an interesting take. You know, if the sponsors are going to leave him, then he can just kind of do what he wants. Thanks for this super chat, Natalie Williams. Roger Meadows advocates for running non-affiliated on the issues alone. Sounds good to me. No parties needed. Direct democracy now. And yeah, I have to agree with that. Thanks for the super chat, Natalie. From LPA Film, bipartisanship communication is fine when it benefits corporations, but not the American people. You know, meaning that they can, you can say bipartisan things and reach across the aisle and whatnot, as long as it's doing it for the donors. This one from Greg Bruce. Jimmy is spot on here, talking about when he was on Tucker and what Jimmy was saying. This super chat from Ashura. Oligarchs will oh yeah, and then he followed up with what he meant to say. Oligarchs will buy both barns with all their horses inside. And thanks for the super chat with that, Ashura. We had this from LPA Films. This is why they also don't challenge Pelosi, because she is the breadwinner of the party. She knows how to get them coins out and flowing around. And another one of my super chat here from Shura. JD says Goldman Sachs never loses. and they own both the Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing to see Jimmy saying those things on there. And yeah, Sabby will be starting the call-in show soon, and that'll be on call-in only. When that starts, we'll be ending the YouTube stream. But you can do call-in on your phone, or you can do it on the call-in app. I'll put the link here in the chat again for the call-in room. Also, if you just get into call-in and search Sabby Sabs, the room isn't live yet, so it'll show up live. Sometimes you have to refresh it. Now, was this a question towards why did I think it was amazing to have Jimmy saying those things on Tucker's show? Yeah, what's amazing is to hear the word corrupt on corporate media. I mean, we all know it. We all feel it. They are both parties are corrupt. I mean, the whole institution, the whole government is run corruptly for the benefit of the military-industrial complex. And you know, I mean, how many times have you heard that on corporate media? So tonight's call-in show is going to be on Jimmy Dore's running for president. Now let me do one of those things like in the chat. Now, if you support Jimmy Dore running for president, you put Dore 24 in the chat. Let's see how many Dore 24s we have for starters here in the chat. Oh, and also remember to hit that like button. That's the other thing I'll say. The other thing that came across the wire today was of course there's a Dore 24. Thanks. There we go. And was the Julian Assange getting the extradition decision, which of course was not good news. I mean, certainly if Jimmy Dore got elected, that wouldn't be happening. There was a really good article just on that from Glenn Greenwald that I'd really recommend, where he gets into the Espionage Act of 1917, which they're using to charge Julian. We got some Dore 24s. Now I may be giving away my position a little bit with this shirt. I don't know, but you can decide. But yeah, I definitely recommend that Greenwald article. The other thing that I noticed recently was, did y'all see Nancy Pelosi on RuPaul's Drag Race? That was just incredibly cringe. And yeah, there's a friend, Shira with the Dore. And Russell Brand did a segment on that with a really good takedown on this Nancy Pelosi on RuPaul. And it's like, I don't even know what you say. Here from Denton, free Julian Assange and Dore in 2024. Yeah, I think we're seeing a bit of Dore support. And yeah, Nancy Pelosi was on RuPaul. Just look at probably the most recent video from Russell Brand, and you'll see that appearance in all its glory. And the time is now 9:45.
Remember when what's his face? Killer Mike. Remember when he said that the time is in that Bernie ad? The time is now.
There you go.
Time wasn't now, huh?
Did you see Nancy Pelosi on RuPaul's Drag Race?
No, but I heard about it. She's just thirsty.
There you go, from Robin. Uber cringe. You said it, Robin.
Get my I don't know where my lavalier mic is. I'm just gonna talk on my phone tonight, and then Robin. And then when I'm gonna do another call-in episode next week, probably during the day. And then for that one, I'll use my mic here, but I'm just going to use my phone for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go live. All right, guys, on YouTube, for those of you on YouTube, just remember that the topic is episode 17, Jimmy Dore for president. What are your thoughts? The call-in link is pinned to the top of the live chat. So you can click on that link. You can use your phone. You can use your computer. You don't have to download the app anymore now. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream on YouTube, and then I'm going to start the room. So have a good night. Keep up the fight.